Hello and welcome back to Games Up's Indie Views from EGX 2017. Last week I told you that we would be seeing a returning face to Games Up, a returning voice in fact. And I'm delighted to say that this week we are joined by my favourite Slavic Mythology specialist Mila from Muha Games. We first met Mila a couple of years ago working on Thea the Awakening, and this year at EGX, walking around, we bumped into her once again for their sequel. So I'm going to stop talking and leave you in the very capable hands of myself from the past and our Slavic Mythology specialist from Muha Games, Mila. A couple of years ago, we got to interview Mila from the team for Thea the Awakening, and walking around the EGX show floor, I have just come across Thea 2, the Shattering, and luckily Mila is back. So hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm very well, thank you.
Good, good. So, you have a sequel?
Yes, we do. It's really exciting. So Thea the Awakening went really well, and now we're working on the sequel.
Fantastic. So, let's get a little bit into the success of Thea the Awakening before we jump into the sequel. How surprised, were you surprised? Did you expect it to be an outright success? Was it?
We were definitely surprised. I think a lot of people in the industry were a bit, oh, you're mixing all these genres together, oh, it's not going to work. So we got a bit worried. But yes, it was wonderful just to see people play and have so many positive reviews. It's very surprising and very humbling and just awesome.
So does that make you more confident building the sequel, that now you know this mix of stuff works, you can really move forward with it?
It should, but it's actually making us really freak out even more because there's all these expectations. Mm-hmm. So people have already enjoyed Thea the Awakening, they have their things they liked about it, things they loved, and now you're making a sequel, and are you going to ruin it for the fans, or are you going, so actually, yeah, there's a part of us that, of course, is confident, but there's a part of us that is constantly freaking out.
But in a good way, hardcore Thea fans can really trust in yourself and your team.
Yes, yes.
Good, good. So when we last talked to you, you were the specialist in the story because of your background. Is that still the case? Are you still pioneering the story moving forward?
Yes, I'm still in charge of all the story, the lore, the world building, and I'm also still the lead quest designer because we now have a second person also doing the quest design. So yeah, it's very exciting for me as well, just the development.
So that's really interesting. So Muha Games, the studio that are behind it, have you grown a lot since the original?
Just by that one person, so not a huge growth. So there's 5 of us, so we were 4, now there's 5.
Okay, so upper fifth nonetheless though,
yes.
That's quite good.
Exactly.
So tell us a little bit about what we should be expecting in Thea 2.
There's a couple of exciting things. So first of all, it's going to be a co-op game from the start. So there's going to be a minimum of 3 players that can play together, and they can actually enjoy questing together. So they will see each other's quests and challenges. Another thing is we've expanded on everything basically. So there's going to be more quests. There's going to be more things to explore, more creatures. More wonderful Thea lore, inspired by Slavic mythology, of course.
So it's really interesting looking at, you said earlier that the game was in still a fairly early stage. It's really interesting looking at what it is now, Thea 2, and where it started in Thea 1 and how far you've come. Do you think you've come that far in terms of your understanding of story and writing? Do you think you've really made big jumps since the first one?
Yes, I think I've learned an awful lot. I think I was kind of thrown at a deep end when I started with Thea 1 because I didn't have a strictly gaming experience, and it's been a steep learning curve. But yes, I think confidence is the key. So as you become more confident, you learn more. I also try to go to these shows and listen to other story writers or quest designers, and I've learned a lot from them as well. So yes, I've definitely learned. I hopefully improved. I shall leave that to the fans to decide.
Are there any particular story writers that you've been really inspired by? Anyone you've been particularly impressed with?
Well, Colin McComb from Torment, Tides of Numenera, has always been my hero, and I was lucky enough to actually meet him, and he's kind enough to sometimes reply to my tweets. So I love him, and yeah, he's definitely one of my inspirations. I've also listened to a talk from I think it's Sven from Divine Divinity 2.
Oh, yes.
And some of the things that he was saying that they also gave me a lot. But yeah, it's just, I think I'm a real geek. Whenever I meet a writer or a quest designer, I just geek out on them. I'm like, oh, I love you, you're great. So yeah, like them all.
So I was asking you earlier, was Thea 1 originally planned to have a sequel?
It wasn't. No, it wasn't planned as such. I think because, as I said, we weren't sure how Thea's going to go, we waited to see. Then we had a discussion about possibly going in a different direction, trying out maybe a sci-fi genre or something like that. But as I was telling you earlier, we felt we had more to tell with Thea. We learned things from Thea the Awakening that weren't viable to implement in the first one, but we really wanted to give that to the fans with the sequel, like building more cities or having the co-op really integrated into the game.
So do you think those other paths that you might explore are they cut off for now, or do you think maybe we might see something different out of Muha Games eventually down the road?
I think eventually, I think every creator will probably tell you do need space from projects. So I can't really say, we're still at least a year away from Thea 2, but I would imagine certainly eventually we will want to try something new.
Okay, well, even up until that point, Thea 2 will be out soon, if not incredibly soon. You guys still have a bit of work to do on it, but thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for coming back to EGX, because it was really great.
Thank you for talking to me.
No, it's a pleasure. Who knows? Maybe we'll see you with Thea 3.
Yes, exactly.
Cheers.
You never know. Thanks.
Thanks, bye. So that, ladies and gentlemen, was Thea, the Shattering, our third week of EGX Indie Views, and next week, it's our last week. But don't worry, because EGX happens every year, and we do this as a lovely little tradition, so we're looking forward to it. And of course, Games Up will keep going long after that. But let's not start crying now. We still have one more week of EGX Indie Views, so thank you very much. We'll see you then. Feel free to like the show and subscribe to it so that we get out in front of a few more people and you don't miss anything we put out. And we'll see you next week for the last in the series. Until then, the game's up.